Nothing like trying to do about 9 things at once. Okay, John, hear you there. It's Red Clay Wednesday. Time to catch up on all things going on in the high school game that you might have missed out by not being a part of the morning show. If you missed the morning show, we got to find out what's going on with Jose Rodriguez at Meadow Creek. We got to find out what's going on with Lauren Jones at Model. We got to find out what's going on with Jason Park with our Murchie. And I legitimately don't know. I swear I know like 98 coaches that coach soccer that are named Jason. I swear, it's like Jason Park at our Murchie. You've got, it is all over the place with all these coaches that I know that are named Jason. I'm going to bring in one. I'm going to bring in another Jason right now. That one. He's from West. All these Jasons that are head coaches, man.
I think you got 2 Jasons playing for the championship tonight or tomorrow. Paige and Galt.
Yep, and Paige is coming on at the bottom of the hour, as by the way, and so we'll catch up with him. So literally, I have 3 Jasons coaching, playing for championships, 2 playing one another for a championship, and I can't thank you enough for doing this, especially on an MD-1. MD-1 and getting ready for all this stuff. It's great to see you again, my friend.
Glad to be here.
All right. Let me go back one game and discuss what happened. Actually, let me go back 2. Last time we were there with you was the Brookwood match, and then you're leading into the Denmark match. So you go from 2 nationally ranked teams going at each other to a rivalry game to get you ready for 2 nationally ranked teams going at each other in a rivalry game for a championship. It's almost like the rivalry game that was straight rivalry was the sandwich game here.
Yeah.
What did you carry with you out of the Brookwood game to go into the Denmark game that just like, I got to recover and catch my breath, but you really can't?
No, especially the last 2 rounds. I mean, or the third and the fourth round is what, 3 or 4 days apart. So there's not a whole lot in the first and the second round. We're still trying to figure out why Georgia High School does it this way. I'm sure there's some logic, but I don't understand it. The first 2 rounds was a week apart, and then the third and the fourth round games, you got like 3 days between. So, you go from a really, really tough game against Brookwood. We knew it'd be tough. We knew, like I said, national ranked team. And then you go to Denmark, who's also a rival game, and a team we'd already beaten. So when you play somebody twice, it's kind of tough to get your kids motivated. But I think it being Denmark, they were pretty motivated because those girls, they all played together. They all know each other. So that was a fun one for us.
Yeah, and when you come up with the margin that you did, you can kind of, maybe catch your breath a little bit. I don't know. You put 6 on the board, you shut them out, you catch your breath. And then you kind of put things down a little bit, and you actually get close to a week to prep for this one against Walton. What's it been like?
We had a great week. I mean, we've only practiced twice. Friday we were off after the Denmark game. We come in Monday and Tuesday and practice. And our practices, at this point in the season, they're very light. They're more just kind of game plan, just talk about what we're about to, face and their system of play and some things they like to do, and just kind of matching up, just kind of getting everything ducks in a row, and just basically at this point it's about being healthy. I mean, there's not a drill that we're going to do. There's not a condition, anything we're going to do right now that's going to get us any more ready for that game. So I just kind of err on the side of caution and just we have fun, do some activities that are kind of loose, and the girl, and it's kind of weird. This is my 4th time doing it, which is, I'm very lucky, very blessed to have these opportunities. But it's kind of a strange phenomenon. I talked to my coaches about it. The last 2 practices, the girls are it's like a sense of relief that they've gotten there. So they're not as wide. You would think it being the biggest game, they'd be super focused and super wired, but it's the exact opposite.
Huh?
For the Brookwood game and even for the Denmark game, they were wired in at practice because there was that sense of we got to win this because if we win it, we get to go to the championship. Right. Whereas now that we're here, it's kind of like now it's time to just relax. It's like the stress is gone. The stress of trying to get to it. Now, the stress tonight's going to be when they're stressed, when they're nervous and and they can't sleep tonight and they're thinking about the championship game. But as far as practice goes, not super intense, just kind of getting through it so we can kind of get to the game.
And that's a wild roller coaster there, because practices are light, then you get out of that light practice, and then all you're doing is thinking about the game. And then you're amped into it, but you can't get too amped, or you try to talk them down so they're not too amped because of the importance of it. So literally you're having to go like this and navigate all of that. What's that like for you and a staff to sit there and have to drive this roller coaster this way?
That's you said it. That it's a roller coaster of emotions, and especially when you're dealing with girls. I mean, girls, you deal with girls differently than you deal with guys. I mean, it's just a fact. So the things that you do to motivate them and to say to them, it's all positive. But yeah, you just got to deal with it. And for me, the important part is having structure and having not getting away from the way we do things. We were off on Wednesday. We were off. I'm sorry, today. Today. Yeah, we're off practice. No practice today. I'm getting my days confused. Yeah, we're always off on Wednesday, so we're not practicing today. We're going to go and have a team meal and kind of just do the psychological aspect of getting ready for the game, and then come out ready to play tomorrow.
So when you do the psychological aspect of it, is it visualization? Is it talking through situation? How do you do psychology here?
Well, so like tonight, for instance, we'll have our team dinner. We'll sit around and eat, and some parents are there. I have a guest speaker that will come in, and he'll motivate me to do a little motivational talk with them. And then I'll talk to them about the season and kind of just let them understand these emotions are normal. You're supposed to be nervous. But our big thing is pregame. So we call the locker room the hype room. So if we're in an away game, they find a bathroom, they find somewhere to go to have the hype room. And the girls that have the music turned up real loud, they dance and act crazy, and they're doing TikToks before games. And because philosophically, I want the girls to be relaxed and just ready to play. Because once they step on the field, they're wired in. I mean, these girls are super competitive. I mean, we don't have to get them motivated to play. When it's a big game, they raise their game up. But it's all the pregame stuff. Just be relaxed, have fun. And we walk on the field. They have music blaring. Walk on the field. They warm up. That's just what we do. That's just our MO.
Who's in charge of the music?
I let them handle that. They don't. Yeah. As long as it's clean, they're good to go. They know it's got to be clean. And we've had the same kind of walkout song for the last few years. They keep using that same song. And we have a little stuffed animal guy we call Mittens. You'll see the head on the sideline. We bring that out. That's been with us forever. So very traditional. Even the way we break down, like I mess with them sometimes. We'll break down a certain way, and if I'll not break it down, Coach Carl, what are you doing? Well, oh, that's right. So you got to break it down the same way, the same words, same verbiage. So it's funny because as the season goes, you start developing these traditions and these things that you might not have at the beginning of the year, but by the end, it's what we always do. Like I'd create a little breakdown we'll do in the locker room, and it's kind of fun. And how do you spell? I'll give you this is how do you spell fun? And they say WIN. I mean, that's kind of yeah. So that little things like that, and then we little clapping and hooting and hollering, that kind of stuff. So just create traditions, create routines, and the girls like it. The girls like it.
When you have these kinds of moments with this group, when I look at it through the prism of the seniors that you have, what's it like to have these moments to get to this point with this group of seniors?
It's special. I mean, because you have, for me, these seniors, I've got 3 of the 4 have been on the varsity for 3 years. So they've been like my daughters for 3 years now, and a part of the program for 4 years. So it's cool to see them kind of achieve this goal that we've had as a team. And it's cool to see them come as freshmen being led, and then by their senior year being the leaders, just that transition of coming from a little 14-year-old young lady to a young woman about to go to college, and seeing that the development, it's very satisfying. I enjoy it because I have a daughter as well. She's 14, and just kind of seeing that it's really cool. It's really cool.
When you get to study hall and you're studying the other Jason, how far back do you go when you're looking at Walton and looking at things, or do you focus more on yourself and just kind of do a search of stuff and focus on yourself? How do you handle a championship game?
Well, I went and scouted them out. They went and played Cherokee earlier in the season. I went and watched them play and took some notes, and then I've been watching the film since to kind of see how it matched up with my notes. And I put the film out there. I tell the girls, hey, watch if you want to watch. Like I don't do film sessions with the girls. Like I watch film myself as a coach, but I think watching film with players is highly overrated. I think that in football as well. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I'll watch the film as the coach, and then my job is to get you the information.
Okay.
Because teenagers don't know how to watch film. They just don't. I mean, you can sit in a meeting and expecting that they're watching the birds fly around over here on top of the goal. I mean, the stuff you need them to watch, they're not watching. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste that time with them. I want to get time with them on the field. I'll watch the film, prepare, and relay the information to them. But I put it out there. So if you got 20 girls, you might have 2 of them that will watch it on their own. So that's kind of how it works out. They'll watch a little bit, and I'll say, what do you see? And we'll talk back and forth about, scouting wise, what certain things that stand out. Because ultimately, for me, philosophically, the girls, they're the ones playing the game. So as long as they're communicating with each other what they see and what they notice, that's the important part. Because I can tell them stuff all day long and they can hear me saying it, but if they don't hear it from each other, they may not really trust it, because they're playing together. They're communicating. I'm yelling, of course, during the game, but they're the ones talking and getting information to each other. So I put it on them to kind of take care of themselves, getting ready. But yeah, Walton, I mean, just watching them, I mean, they've been pretty consistent all year as far as what they do and how they do it. And they got a successful way of playing soccer. It's going to be hard to break them down.
What concerns you the most, and what are you the most confident about going into this one?
Their back line on defense is just they're huge. I mean, they're like super, just big girls. They're physical. I think we have them as far as speed goes. So I'm hoping that matchup, even though they're physically gifted players and they got good size, I'm hoping our speed can counteract that. And then defensively, I like our matchup. I mean, they're not super explosive on offense. So going into the season, I kind of had a little trepidation about our defense, but they've really, I mean, they haven't given a goal up in the playoffs. So they've risen to the occasion. And I think the matchup there is pretty good for us. So if you look on paper, we're both 20-1. We're both, good teams, but I'm looking at our speed up top as being a factor. If we can really take advantage of that, then I think we got a good chance.
And we are looking forward to it. Maddie and Jason are going to be on the call over in Duluth on the NFHS Network. As always, my friend, great to see you. Great to catch up with you. And we'll definitely be watching one of the games of the year, all in capital letters, bold-faced, italicized, underlined. Always great to see you and catch up and kind of pick your brain about stuff. Good luck, be safe, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
There we go. Jason Galt, head coach for West Forsyth. And they're going to get ready for Walton. And we're going to catch up with Jason Page coming up bottom of the hour and find out what's going on with him. We may try to do a little bit of TV magic and let you know what's going on. Here's how the second half hour is going to work. We might have to go long because we're going to try and do something that might take a little bit of wrangling. Going to try and catch up with Philip Thomas from River Ridge while you are watching the interviews of Kelly Bowler and of Ben Parker from Johns Creek and from Savannah Arts in the second half hour after we catch up with Jason Page at 12:30. So about 12:40, then we'll play those interviews, and then I'm going to come back. So here's the TV magic, and as one of our viewers on the morning show always tells me, when I'm trying to do 19 things at once, he always will mention how the sausage is made. So I'm gonna break the fourth wall here a little bit and tell you how the sausage is going to be made in the second half hour. I'm going to try and do two things at once. So while you are watching the Kelly Bowler interview from River Ridge and or possibly the interview with Ben Parker from Savannah Arts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and catch up with Philip Thomas from River Ridge and flip that and play that at the end of the show. So we're going to go long in some way. So at the bottom of the hour, when we catch up with Coach Page, we'll do that interview live. And then I have two pieces of tape that I've got to get into, and they're on the same timeline. I didn't have quite the chance to break them up. So they're on the same timeline. And so I'm going to be listening to an interview at once. Then I'm going to be checking on a second interview while doing a third. So that's kind of what we're going to be dancing with here in the second half hour. A live interview, two taped interviews with a transition, recording a third interview, and trying to turn that interview and flip it to where we can play it. If I can't quite flip it in time, I will flip it independently, and we'll come up and I'll do like a coda for the high school show here. And then we will end up with a longer version of this show on audio later because of Johns Creek and River Ridge playing tonight. And so in catching up with Coach Thomas, basically what is going on is a bunch of stuff on campus, and they're having to do things manually when it comes to entries and testing. And so tonight at 7:30, Coach Thomas gets to hopefully put all of that stuff behind him, and we can catch up there. If we can't catch up there, then like I said, what I'll do is I will come on, I will do the interview. I'll come on quickly and do a coda that you may or may not see here on the network. And then that interview will get posted in its audio and we'll play it. And then what I may end up doing is if I don't play it today, I'll play it tomorrow in the noon show as kind of a look back in the preview of River Ridge and Johns Creek. Hey, we caught up with Philip Thomas, and here's what he had to say. So that might be the safest thing to do, and we'll play that tomorrow in the noon show, where we will catch up with Tryon and we will catch up with Matt Cheeves from Dalton. So we have all of those things to get into here as we go. So coming up once again, bottom of the hour, it's going to be Jason Page from Walton to discuss the matchup we were just discussing with Jason Galt from West Forsyth, and we'll break that down for you. Then we'll talk to then we'll hear from Kelly Bowler at River Ridge. At Johns Creek, previewing River Ridge, and Ben Parker from Savannah Arts Academy previewing his matchup with Pierce, as they are probably well on their way from Savannah, making their way up to St. Pius for the matchup with Nick and Justin. That is going to be later today. So just so you've got your broadcast squared away for today, it is 5:30, girls at Duluth, Maddie and Jason for Chamblee and Greenbrier. If you missed the interview with Rob Husted, that's in Monday's Red Clay. That's off the top. 5 o'clock at St. Pius. It is Pike County and Justin Osteen. We've caught up with him in the past. We caught up with him last week. And then Coahulla Creek. If you missed the interview with Shannon Coley from Coahulla Creek yesterday in the morning show, that happened at about 10:45. So those are your first two matchups, your nightcaps, and I'll say 7:30-ish, considering what happened last night. At Duluth, Johns Creek and River Ridge, Maddie and Jason on that call. And then at 7:30, Savannah Arts in Pierce County at St. Pius. And on the call there, it's going to be Nick Alifi and Justin Hanover. So that's your 5 and your 7:30s today for those matchups in 5A and AA. So it's 5A at Duluth, 2A at St. Pius. That's today. So yesterday we had championship games in the private classification and in the AAA classification. And to let you know what happened venue by venue, we will go and let you know what happened first at St. Pius on the private side. And in the private side on the boys, the nightcap there went to Whitfield Academy. They scored in the first half, and it stayed. So it was a state title for Whitfield Academy, shutting out Hebron Christian by the score of 1-0. Then on the flip side, in the girls' championship, it was Holy Innocents with a goal on the board, and it was an own goal, and it ended up 1-0 Holy Innocents over Wesleyan. So Holy Innocents and Clayton Schmidt went on the girls' side, and it was Coach Hellier on the boys' side at Whitfield Academy. What we're going to do is take the champions, and we're going to catch up with them next week. See if they can catch up on morning shows, or if we've got to do red clays and figure that stuff out. That's next week. With the champions, we're letting them breathe, and we're going to catch up with them next week. Over at Duluth, you had a couple of really cool moments happen there. The nightcap was Islands winning the first Savannah area soccer championship for Chatham County, and it goes to Islands, 6-0 winners over East Hall. They were out 3-0 early, 4-0 into the first half, and then it was 5-6 by the end of it all. Shutout for Justin Brantley. Great season for Coach Zimmerman and everyone at East Hall. It was a great run that they had with the gauntlet that they ran through low right out of the bracket, knocking off Johnson, Gainesville, and PKs, knocking off Oconee County in the subsequent match, and then going to West Lawrence and winning there and getting to the last game of the year against Islands. But Justin Brantley, great season for them, finishing as champs, first ever Savannah area champ in soccer, winning 6-0 on the boys' side. Then we go to the girls' side. Girls' side was the reason that the boys' match was later starting than the boys' match than normal. So it was Oconee County and Jefferson. And Oconee County and Jefferson, they played each other last year in the championship game, and it went to PKs, and you end up with the moment that you had last year, or it went to PKs this year. Last year goes to overtime. Oconee County gets the win, and they were your 2025 state champs. Yesterday, it goes to PKs. And I'm going to play you what happened at the end of the PKs. And then we'll come back on the flip side and catch you up with Jason Page. This is Maddie and Jason on the call yesterday. You've got to hear it to believe it. Maddie and Jason on the call yesterday for the girls AAA final in PKs. Here's how the match ended. Once again, courtesy of our friends at the NFHS Network.
And it's Riley Jackson for Oconee County in a must-make situation. Sydney Jackson stepping up. Jackson with the right foot. Eichert saves it. Jefferson with their first state title.
What?
They're going to retake it. The AR says Eichert came off her line early after they come out to celebrate. The AR says that Eichert left the line early. So it's a retake and a red card shown towards the Jefferson bench. Another card shown. Looked like Jefferson had the state title trophy in their hands, and now they have to come back out.
I believe the red cards were shown to the coaching staff of Jefferson.
Yeah, I don't think it was players, and now the referees are concerned about getting them out of the picture. I think that's happened. So, Sydney Jackson gets another opportunity here. Eichert made the save, was judged to have come off her line early. Jackson still has to make this.
Yeah, and you have an added emotion, too, which that does not help as well. You have the celebration. I mean, Jackson is already feeling the emotion.
And now they're going to change who's taking it.
I don't
know the high school rules on this aspect of it. I'm shocked this is happening.
I think Jefferson is also pleading that case, too.
This should not be allowed by FIFA rules. High school rules are different. They're allowing them to change. Okay, here we go. Sydney Jackson to the right foot. Somebody else was going to take it. It is Jackson. Eichert saves it again. Jefferson wins again. Their first title. They've been so close for so many times, the Jefferson Dragons. They get there and it's taken away and they have to do it again. And Isabel Eichert makes the save of her life to win a state championship.
Twice. Had to make the save of her life twice. And you end up with Jefferson getting their first ever title in a matchup against Oconee County. And so that was how the day started yesterday in Duluth. Then you end up with Islands winning theirs over East Hall, and you have the two 1-0 games in the private side, and you have Holy Innocents winning on the girls' side. You have Whitfield Academy winning on the boys' side, and that's what gets us to today. That is where we are today as we get you ready for what's going on here once again. It is 5A and it is AA today. Chamblee and Greenbrier, Pike County, and Coahulla Creek. Number 1 ranked Pike County. Number 3 ranked Coahulla Creek. That's rankings, not power rankings. And then you have Chamblee, who comes in at number 7. Greenbrier, who comes in at number 6. And Greenbrier was your Region 1 champ. Chamblee, your Region 4 champ. Chamblee knocked off Roswell in the semifinals. Greenbrier hosted Pope, and everything went through Greenbrier. Greenbrier did not have to wander from one end of the planet to the other. And as has been the case in years past with the Wolfpack, they haven't had the schedule where they've had to go from one end of the state to the other. They had to do it all at home. They did it all at home, knocking off Clark Central at home, beating Johns Creek at home. Then Lassiter goes to Greenbrier for the win. Then Pope goes to Greenbrier. Greenbrier wins. And so now Greenbrier then goes to Chamblee, or goes to Duluth to take on Chamblee in 5A girls. Once again, that's at 5 o'clock. Pike County and Coahulla Creek. Pike County ranked number 1. They knocked off number 2 Columbus. That was master and student. Justin Osteen's one of Justin Osteen's former players in Columbus is now the head coach at Columbus, and it was number 1 versus number 2, and Pike County got the win. They take on Coahulla Creek. Coahulla Creek, who was team number 2, and literally this is team 1 versus team 2 in the power rankings, team 1 versus team 3 in the rankings. And so Coahulla Creek at team 2 beats Appling County. They knocked off Mike Petit and Callaway. Then Sonoraville goes to Coahulla Creek. Union County then goes to Coahulla Creek as team 14, ranked number 7, and then Coahulla Creek ranked number 3. They got to do it all at home. Pike County got to do it all at home, and so it is one power ranking 1 versus 2 and 1 versus 3 in the rankings, and that's where Justin and Nick will be once again this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Nightcaps, Johns Creek, River Ridge, National Powers. There really isn't a whole lot more that you could say about that one. Maddie and Jason will have that call 7:30-ish on the network. And then it is AA boys. It is Savannah Arts Academy, with Savannah Arts Academy knocking off Columbus, who is the number 1 ranked team, number 1 seeded team in the power rankings. Savannah Arts, who is ranked number 4, they knocked off Columbus, who is ranked number 1. And then it is number 4 taking on Pierce County. Pierce County, they got to win at home against Kip. Then they won at home against Spencer. Then they hosted Hart County. Great season for Hart County, by the way. Pierce County gets the win there. Then Pierce goes to Pike and goes to Zebulon for the win on the boys' side. And then that is how they end up at St. Pius for 7:30-ish on the AA boys' side. And so those are your matchups today. On Wednesday, it is 5A and AA today as we continue to roll forward here. Let me look at the other matchups, and this is when all of the other chaos gets to start. Luke Winstall and I will be in Thomaston at Upson Lee to get you the matchups on Class A Division I and Class A Division II. It'll be the last day for Maddie and Jason, as they call 6A, and it will be on the girls' side. We're going to get the start at 4 o'clock in Thomaston at Upson Lee, as number 3 Thomasville will take on number 1 Model. We caught up with Lucas Kimmel, the head coach of Thomasville's girls team in Red Clay yesterday. Caught up with Lauren Jones, the head coach of Model, in the morning show today. So if you want to go back and watch those interviews, you can, or listen to them. Then it is 5 o'clock at Duluth, West Forsyth and Walton. Once again, much like it is with River Ridge and Johns Creek on the boys' side. National Powers going at it 5 o'clock. That's your lead game Thursday at Duluth. West Forsyth and Walton. It was great to catch up with Coach Galt, like we always do, and also going to be catching up with Jason Page here in just a sec. I think he gets out of class at 12:30. And speaking of, what do you know? You mention him, and he wanders in. It's my 3rd Jason of the day, by the way. I've got you. I had Jason Galt at the top of the hour, and then I had Jason Park, the head coach at Armurchie. You're my 3rd Jason coach that I've had today.
I'm gonna have to go back to Coach Galt's interview and see if he gave any hints.
Well, I mean, I'd be asking you the same questions. So,
okay.
And it's not really, we're not really going back a whole ways, but I just wanted to catch up with you about the Harrison match specifically and what sticks in your mind to start.
That's a good question. No, I think we handled that match well. I think, I think there's the coaching staff. We made some decisions to start off with that we decided to kind of change it up, and I think the girls adjusted well about halfway through the first half. I think we stuck with our game plan, managed the game well. got some quality opportunities. Our first goal was great team goal. I think we did well on possession. We felt like we could handle the midfield, and I think we did a good job of that. And I also felt like, they definitely have some threats up top. We felt like we could handle those, and I think we did a pretty good job with that. So, coming out of that game, we felt very pleased, and we're ready to move forward to the next one.
How do you navigate this next one because of the trying to control the emotions going in, knowing how important it is as a championship game? How do you navigate the ups and downs of 15 to 18-year-olds in a game for a state title, having gone through all of this season as it is, navigating school at the same time, because I imagine you're going to have testing and classes and exams and all. How do you navigate this roller coaster this week?
Yeah, so we started navigating it at the beginning of the year. We do that with our scheduling. We make sure that we have the toughest schedule so that we're tested mentally. The academics, that's the expectation. The girls know, the second they enter the program as a freshman, they understand what the expectations are in the classroom, that they have to manage that. I think the coaching staff, we do a good job of giving the girls days off to manage the things that they need to take care of, and reminding them this is your time to get ready for your AP exam, which we have tons of those. Get ready for your finals. Whatever it is they have to manage. For example, after the Harrison game, we gave them Friday off. So they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That usually means 3 days off. The training session on Monday isn't the greatest training session ever. After 3 days off, it just isn't. We accepted that. Our goal was give them the time that they need to be fresh to take care of any injuries or illnesses or whatever. And then get back to it on Tuesday. Yesterday was a good session. We were pleased with it. We kind of went over how we're going to handle what we're going to have to handle and what we think we'll be capable of doing in the match. So it's, a very business as usual. There isn't a whole lot that I have to say. I think, I talk about leadership all the time. I think that our seniors and some of our seasoned veterans, whether they be juniors or even sophomores, they understand, they know what it is, and they know what this takes. It really is a marathon. This is a grueling run to get to this point in high school soccer. So some of the management comes from the coaching staff, making sure they get the appropriate breaks, but also putting the girls through a difficult season where they've had to manage tough games will get us prepared for this.
What do you think you have to handle against West Forsyth?
4 forwards. It's not like I circled West Forsyth at the beginning of the year. I knew that they were a legit contender. Brookwood, obviously, in that game, of course, I've watched that match. Brookwood's a good team. That's a common opponent for the two of us. Both of us played a very close game. It is. We know that they are talented up top. We know what we have to manage, and if you are a soccer fan at all, and you look at the statistics, this just has to be one intriguing matchup, because you've got a team, in West Forsyth that seems like they score at will, and then you've got our team, Walton, where we've given up 8 goals the entire season in 21 matches, and even some of the, one's a pen, a couple of them are just unfortunate. We very easily could be sitting here giving up, 3 or 4 goals for the season. And that's crazy. So you have a team that really, really likes to go forward and likes to press and press and press, and likes to use the space, create spaces with those 4 forwards. And then you have another team that is really good at shutting that kind of team or that kind of offense down, or at least attempting to. So it is a really intriguing matchup.
Then, in this kind of a situation, do you have a back line of 5 to try to have one more? I'm just, do you go,
Yeah.
do you go 5-3-2, 3-5-2 to try to, have one more in defense than you do in attack? How do you look at something like that?
So through conversations with the team, we've thrown all the options out there. I'm not going to tip too much. I can't do that. But obviously a 5-3-2 was one of the first things that I thought of. We do rely on our midfielders a lot. We have 3 seniors that have held it down. We've got a freshman that has come in and has been really impressive in the midfield. We like her because she understands what her job is and does her job, and she's very, very clean and very simple. We do have options to possibly play 5 across the back, but yeah, of course that's been a conversation. Spent a lot of time, I've said before, this is the girls program, so spent a lot of time discussing it with them, how they feel about it. They've looked at film, they've looked at the scouting report, and all, any of the clips that I've managed to give them, they have a pretty good idea of what we're going to see or could potentially see. Again, it's intriguing. Yeah, that's about all I can say.
Without giving away any state secrets.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is 2 very talented programs, 2 very, you got 2 good coaching staffs that have done everything they can to put their teams in the best position to potentially win a state title. So, now it's going to be up to his players and my players. I mean, Coach Galt and I, we can make all the adjustments that we want, but at the end, it's going to be which team manages to come out and perform in this situation. I think both of them have the potential to win this one.
How much film do you give the players to look at, or do you just sit there and go clips and go, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this? Or how do you break that down?
A lot of it is clips. I've gotten to the point where I try to either put screenshots or clips in our scouting reports so they get a good look at it. And the scouting reports are something that we do intermittently throughout the season, but then when we get close to the playoffs, I want them to start seeing it more. If I feel like if I do it every match, then they'll just stop looking at them. Yeah. And it's not, I don't try to make one match more important than the other, but I feel like I have to be selective. With the film, I try to give them significant clips. We are actually going to watch a little bit today so they kind of get a feel for what they're going to see. And it's not going to be a film breakdown. It's going to be, I want them to watch how their opponent's been playing just so they can kind of understand what they're going to see. And then also watching teams that had some success against the opponent, what was it they were doing. But as far as, we're going to be exactly here or exactly there, these girls are talented enough that doesn't need to happen.
So when you give them the scouting reports,
yeah,
how big are they? Do they get bigger as the season goes along, or is it less information as the season goes along?
Is it like I think the information just becomes a little more specific.
Okay.
It becomes a little more specific. And in this case, we know the tendencies of some of their players. So we just try to make it a little more specific just so that they understand. I think the things that have to get hit on heavily on scouting reports, obviously the formation that you're going to see, what players are threats, but set pieces really come into play. That's the other thing. You've got 2 teams in this matchup that are scoring on set pieces. They're strong on corners. We're strong on corners. They have a long throw. They have 2. We have a long throw. I mean, it is. If you like soccer and you're good with high school soccer, this is one to watch.
Thursday at 5 on the NFL Network. Maddie and Jason will be there with it. I'm looking forward to 2 teams staring in a mirror. I really am. I mean, it's going to be a fun one, and I can't thank you enough. If you want to, we caught up with Coach Wade earlier today.
Okay.
And he actually was able, he conquered technology. He and I, when it comes to,
he had somebody helping him.
I think it was one of his assistants actually was helping him, but it literally was, he started with his phone, and then in there with the firewalls and everything, the phone locked up. Yeah. And he goes to his laptop, and then the laptop, and he got some assistants, and we got to work on it. I've got to ask you this: when did the blonde thing start with Wade? When did that start?
He did it with the boys. Yeah. I've got a little deal with the girls, so I might be sporting a new hairstyle at some point. But the boys did it. There are several teams here that'll do that. So he did it with them, and I think it looks great. Makes him look younger.
He said it was his natural hair color.
I think he's just glad that he still has hair.
Like I said, as someone who is follically challenged more than the both of you, I would agree to that. I'll stipulate to that.
Hey, do you mind if I give a quick shout out?
Yeah,
Because there are, I don't think that it gets enough, but I want to talk on the region that we're in. We're in Region 5, 6A, and when we first were in this region, the matches weren't quite as competitive, and then the coaches that work in this region, I just want to say that I'm proud to be a part of this region, and they've done a really, really good job. Whether we're talking at Etowah or Cherokee or, North Paulding, Coach Sullivan, who is retiring, has done a great job with that program. And I really appreciate the fact that in our region, we have coaches that put a lot of time and effort to building programs and have created quite a competitive environment, which in part has helped us. And I certainly hope that our team and their competitiveness has helped them pick those teams up. But I think it needs to be said that there are a lot of high school coaches out there that do a job that oftentimes can be thankless, and they do it for the kids, and they've created a fun and competitive environment that we get to enjoy at the end of the year. So I just want to give a shout out to all those coaches in our region who've put in a lot of time and effort to create a region that is fun to compete in.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad you did that. So you got your itinerary figured out. You're squared away. When you're going over the top end, which means you're leaving after breakfast, right?
Yeah, we're actually going to depart at 2.
Okay.
We're going to depart at 2. We should get there around 3. We want to try to. We don't do anything special. It's normal. We keep it normal.
Okay.
We try to arrive at about the same time. Keep the routines the same. Nothing special about this. It's business as usual. We take care of the things we've been doing all year.
As always, my friend, it's great to see you. Great to catch up, and all the things. Just be safe, and we'll be watching. And Maddie and Jason will be there with you. Be safe, my friend.
All right. Thanks for the coverage. Appreciate it.
All right, there we go. There's my third Jason of the day. Literally, my third Jason of the day. Armurchie. It literally went Armurchie, and then it went to West Forsyth, and then it went to Walton. All right, now here's where we try to do the TV magic. Here's the deal. And like I said, I'm going to try and do like 19 things at once here. So it is 2 interviews, but they're on one timeline. So my first interview is with Kelly Bowler from Johns Creek. And then I'm going to hit a pause button, come back, transition, and then we're going to play Ben Parker from Savannah Arts. And I'm going to try and catch up with Philip Thomas if he's free starting, right now-ish. We'll find out what's going on. Here's our conversation with Kelly Bowler from Johns Creek. First off, Kelly, obviously, thanks for dropping by here in these MD- situations. Now that you've had a couple days to think about what happened at Decatur, what sticks in your head?
I was just really proud of my team. That Decatur was packed. It was a loud environment. You were there. It was like there was barely an empty seat. Decatur is a big physical team. 3 or 4 kids in that starting lineup that are like 6'3" or bigger. It appeared. And so, for a team of our size, we're not the biggest team in the world, to go up against that physical challenge and still come out with a 3-0 win. And, we took a lot of hard hits, a lot of hard tackles, and we battled through it and we got the win. So I was very impressed with the mentality of the boys. They really seemed to step up over the last 3 rounds. After a slow start against Woodward, we've really kind of turned it on. Hopefully we've got one more in us tomorrow night. So
when you look at that matchup specifically, you mentioned the back line and just the tall dudes that were there for Decatur. One of the center backs looked like he was like 6'9" and about 250 pounds, and he was causing problems sending the ball long. It seemed like Decatur wanted to try to go over the top with long balls to try to use what speed they had to get around your back line, but you were pretty much clamping down that idea, and they weren't getting a whole lot created offensively. So you seem to be asserting what you wanted to do offensively, working the edges and getting around all of that tallness, for lack of a better word, and then stifling them defensively with 2 and then 4 and then everyone collapsing at the back when that ball tried to go over the top.
And so we knew that going in. We had scouted, as any team at this point of the season will be, but we had watched a lot of film and talked to a lot of coaches, and we knew that number 23, I don't know what his name is, and he's a class player. We knew he loved to play a long ball into the channels, most of the time into the opposite channel. As a left center back would normally try to play into that right channel, but the other night he was trying to play into our channel behind our right back quite a bit. And Daniel Wyborn, Martin Sosa, Eden Gitman, Jacob Barrett. I mean, they just locked it down, and Jack was there every time. Jack Bernstein, our goalkeeper, was there for any ball that carried over the top. I mean, they were just excellent. And then we knew that part of what they thrived on was not only like trying to play that ball into the channel, but then if you win that ball, then winning the second ball and coming right back down your throat. But our midfield was always in the right position. Alejandro, Arab, Bennett, Ryan, they were always there to win that second ball. And so it really helped us just keep control of the game. And, we were saying before the game that field is the biggest field probably in the Atlanta area, would be my guess. It's a professional size. It's about an additional 12 yards wide over what ours is here at Johns Creek. And we were saying, if we could practice on this field all the time, the way we play with our possession game, like we might never lose a game, because like we just had so much space to play and so much time to get on the ball, and we were able to pass it across the back line quickly and efficiently. And so I think that is really one of the things that helped us out was the size of that field, because they were chasing the game a lot of that game. And you saw like number 23, he was giving it his all, man. Like he was working hard, but by the, in the last 15 minutes, I don't know why my computer keeps going off. Sorry. In the last 15 minutes, he cramped up. I mean, he just couldn't go anymore because they had been chasing the game so much that he cramped up and he couldn't get back on the field. He was over there on the sideline trying to get back in and just could not get his calves to respond. So
I look at Samak and I seem to be each and every time, and this is over a couple of seasons, there seems to be something that's added to my visual dossier of how did he do that? And you end up with an Olympico against Riverwood. And then there was the short side goal that he had against Decatur. And I'm like, okay, cool. Did not expect that to come out of the bag. I mean, do you and the coaching staff, are you guys surprised at anything that he pulls out of that bag at times?
No, and we see it. I mean, we see it every day in practice. He can go both ways, and that's the problem for opponents when they're going against Samak. He can go inside across the middle, or he can go left. When we went to Milton, they tried to take away just the middle, and so he went down the left and got a 1v1 with the goalkeeper and almost won the game for us at the end of regulation. Like this is who he is. And the wear and tear of the season on him is a lot. He gets kicked a lot. He gets fouled a lot. He's had some chronic knee pain over the past couple of years. But since spring break, he's just like, he got rest. He didn't do anything over spring break, and he's just hit another level. Plus he got to sit out the Habersham game, so unfortunately, but if we had him against that Habersham team, we probably would have won by even more. He's a class player, and he's not the only one. Like Ryan Gottschalk is the same way. Like, I in the Decatur game, I saw something. Somebody hit a ball. One of our center backs hit a ball up the middle, and looked like it was going to go all the way to the goalkeeper for to Decatur, and Ryan Gottschalk just comes flying out of the air, brings it down with his foot, an absolute rifle. I'm like, how did he bring that ball down? Like, I just don't even understand. Like, I turned to my coaches and I just said, wow, like what just happened? Like, how did he do that? And so, it's really hard, to stop us, I guess, when you've got Ryan Gottschalk and Aiden Giacomelli and Samak Liao, like who are you clamping down on? And then that's selling short our right back and left back that both get forward at will, and Gitman and Jacob Barrett. And then, Bennett Perot is a great center midfielder. Alejandro's been great. Like, and we've got two good center backs that are also good coming up on set pieces, so I don't know if you remember the ball that Martin Sosa played through to Samak that just, he found an alley and it just went right perfectly through everybody all the way to Samak there in that second half. And it's just a lot of quality on the field right now.
So of course that means now you get River Ridge. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, if you're gonna play the game king of the hill, right, you got to knock the king off the hill. And they've been there 3 straight years. Like, this is their 4th straight year of going. And so, it's our talent versus, their experience of coming into this, and they're a talented team too. They got several ECNL players in their lineup. We played them the week after spring break. We played them in a non-region game. Doesn't mean much in a non-region game. That's what we've been telling the kids, is that result doesn't matter. We've got to make sure that we show up like they're a new team, that they're a different team. They've got one player back that's an ECNL player. He's their striker. And so we're going to have to make sure that we're ready to go, ready to play. And it's going to be crazy in there. I went to the state final 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whenever that was, 2021. And, it's the loudest environment I've ever been in. It's chaos. You blink your eye and it's over, it just moves so fast. And so we've been trying to forewarn the kids, you just got to be focused. You got to continue to play our game. You can't get panicky in these moments. And so far we've been on the road in 2 tough road games. That Riverwood game was packed. The Decatur game was packed. It's probably going to pale in comparison to how loud it'll be tomorrow night, but at least you've got some training in there to compete with what River Ridge, their experience. They've been to the state final 4 times in a row. They know what this is like. So our boys have just got to come in ready and focused.
And Kelly, as always, it's great to catch up with you, my friend. And we'll be keeping an eye on you as we go. Maddie and Jason will have the call on the 5A Wednesday night. 7:30-ish is the word that I will use. Ish.
Yeah, depending on how the game before ours goes, right? So Greenbrier, Chamblee girls, right?
Mm-hmm. And so that'll be a fun one. As always, thanks for your time and your patience and all this stuff. We'll be watching, and Maddie and Jason will be there with you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate all you guys do.
There you go, Kelly.
Yep.
You got it.
Thank you.
Sorry about that delay. We made it. We absolutely made it. Okay, so that is interview number 1. And it's great to catch up with Kelly Bowler. Literally simultaneously, as it was happening, I was talking to Philip Thomas. So what we're going to try to do is TV Magic. If we can't do TV Magic, then, like I said, we'll run it in Red Clay tomorrow. Because tomorrow on Red Clay, it is a visit to Tryon. It is a visit to Matt Cheeves and possibly what's going on here with Philip Thomas. Like I said, worst case, we'll play Philip Thomas tomorrow. It's kind of like we caught up with him, before the match, and here's what he got to say. And they're battling a cyber attack on campus in trying to enter all kinds of things involving, information, like key information that has to be uploaded. They're having to do it manually. It can't just rely on computer programs. And he said that literally he just got an email breaking down all of the issues that are there. And so he's having to go from there to hop on buses to go to Duluth to go over this matchup with Johns Creek. So that's kind of where that's where they are at River Ridge right now. And so it was interesting to say the very least that that Philip Thomas was able to catch up with us and find out what's going on there to lead into this matchup. All right, now, as promised, I'm going to bring in the second half of the interview that I did. So it was was with Ben Parker from Savannah Arts Academy. So I'm going to try to continue to do TV Magic here, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I'm running out of time because I've got to do some other stuff. So we're probably going to end up playing Philip Thomas tomorrow. So let's do this. All right. We're going to play Ben Parker from Savannah Arts Academy, and then we'll we'll bid you adieu, and we'll get you ready for everything going on. So here's Ben Parker getting ready for his matchup with Pierce County, and we'll find out what he's got to say about what's going on with his matchup here. So let me hit play, and then I'm going to shuttle some tape, and then we'll hit it from the point to where we have to start. So here we go with Ben Parker. First off,
Gutty.
all right. So here we go in 3, 2. I was close. I nailed it. Thank you for doing this before practice. I know that in the MD minus categories, you're trying to sit there and go, okay, I got practice. Can we do this? Can we wedge it in here? First off, thanks for doing this on the hop on an MD minus one as you get ready for a long road trip.
Not a problem, buddy. No problem at all.
All right. So for those that haven't had the chance to see you, Team 4 in the power rankings in AA boys, you shut out Cook. Appling was a shootout, and I mean that in the sense of 80 minutes, not 80 plus 20 and then going to PKs, but actually a lot of goals on the board. Then you get a shutout of Drew. Then you knock off Columbus. So you've won a bunch of different ways here in the postseason. What have you taken away from each of these appearances that gets you ready for this matchup with Pierce County, you think?
I mean, all of the games have been extremely close, competitive, just gutty, gritty. Appling actually was a shootout. So it went 3-3 in regulation, and then nobody scored. And we did win that in a shootout. Just the way it came up on the score sheet, it looks like 4-3.
Right.
So, but Appling is a region opponent. I mean, we played them 8 times in the last 4 years. They can flat out go forward. So you have to be able to keep pace with them attacking wise. And then Drew was very good, athletic. So we knew that their attack was going to be was dangerous. So we kind of changed formation up a little bit, played a little bit more defensively. We don't score a ton of goals anyways. You can kind of look at our record. But defensively, we played fantastic against Drew. We played fantastic against Columbus. I would just say gutty, gritty is really the characteristic of the team.
16-6 coming into the last game of the year, and you mentioned that you don't give up a lot, you don't score a lot, but last time I checked, if you give up less than you score, you're winning. So that's always a plus. You look at the losses, and I always like to ask coaches in the playoffs, and this is kind of like one of the questions I always ask. It's like not every win is an A+. Not every win grades out as 100, and not every loss grades out as a complete and total F and a 0. When you look at your losses, and I know that you schedule like nobody's business. I mean, you give up 5 to Savannah Country Day, you lose in extras to Calvary Day, you lose to Woodville Tompkins, same with Crisp. And then once again in the regular season with Appling back in March, mid-March. What did you learn about yourself and with the loss to Islands that you could apply to this run here in the tail end of the in the regular season and in the postseason to get you ready for what you needed to do here to get to the last game of the year?
That's a good question. Early in the season, we were giving up too many goals over the top. We were conceding too much in the back because we didn't quite have the speed back there that we needed. So I have a senior, very talented player. His name's Andrew Paschke. He was playing attacking center mid for me. He had played center back for me as a sophomore. He had played center back for me as a junior some as well. So I made the decision to take him and move him back to center back because he has the speed to recover. That allows us to play higher up the field, win the ball in more advanced positions, and he can recover. I think after we played Woodville and we played awful against Woodville Tompkins. They're a good team, but we played awful. That's when I made that switch. And again, we lost to Appling. The first time we lost to him was in a shootout. We lost to Crisp in a shootout. We lost to Calvary in a shootout. So 3 of our 6 losses were in shootouts. Islands is incredibly talented. So against Islands, they have a technical ability that's really advanced. They also play like a 3-4-3, so they overload in the midfield. So I mean, I think we learned a lot about our ability to defend under pressure, still find space wide, work the ball out, and not just resort to sending long balls, even when we're under pressure.
When you look at the offense that you have this year, obviously someone's going to walk in the door for the first time and they're going to see what it's going to be like with your offense, and having someone like Caden Powell, who is out of the blocks, double-digit goal scorer for your leading scorer. It was like 16-5, I think was the last number that I had for Caden. What's it been like to see his game evolve and have the numbers that he had this season to help you out offensively?
He's a special talent. He's left-footed, but he can strike with both feet. He's got a lot of speed, a lot of technical ability. So tactically, he's moved around quite a bit. We've played him at the 10. We've played him at the 9. We've played him in a 4-3-3 as a wide attacker. He just has the ability to create shots with very little space. And he's also he's very good on set pieces. He can hit a direct kick. He has really developed as a freshman a couple years ago, actually 3 years ago. I knew that his talent was really advanced. And so, but he's got taller and faster and stronger. All the things that are great about coaching high school. You get to watch these guys grow up in front of your eyes. And the talent just keeps developing. So he definitely is a critical part of our success.
When you mentioned this defense, you've only given up 29 over 22, but a lot of those, you mentioned the 5 to Woodville Tompkins that you gave up, 3 to Islands, and so on and so forth. So you've really clamped it down in class. What has it been like with this defense of yours to see them really not give up a whole lot all season long, except for, when you're going up against, say, an Appling or something like that?
It's fantastic. That's I mean, defense wins championships, as they say. It starts with my keeper, Marty Melich. He's a senior. He's very talented. He's tall. He's rangy. He's a great shot stopper. So it starts with him, and then Andrew Paschke, I mentioned earlier, and then I have a freshman that plays center back who is extremely talented. We love to say, we look at the bench and go, he does not tackle like a 14-year-old. I mean, he probably weighs 120 pounds, but he puts every single ounce of that 120 in. He's just so balanced. His athleticism is there. And then my 2 fullbacks are fast, and they have good technical ability. So we are able to work the ball out of the back, and try to control the tempo from there, but also athletically compete. It's been fun to watch.
When I mention this group of seniors, what sticks in your head about this bunch?
So I've had 5 of them since they were freshmen, but one, this is his first year playing. His name is Sebastian Nunez, and you're familiar with MLS Next. So he played on MLS Next team. He was unable to play high school ball. But this year he decided to play, and his intensity and his passion for the game has raised our entire team, no doubt. So we were good last year, but we lost the close games. We're winning the close games this year. And I feel like I owe a lot of that to Sebastian, just with his energy and his passion, and his experience at playing at a high level. Robert Dennison's a captain, Nick Drabeck's captain. They're fantastic players. They've been playing with me for 4 years. Like I mentioned, the keeper and Andrew Paschke already. They also they're great. Each one knows their role, and they do it very well.
When I talk about the Columbus match, what sticks in your head that you get to apply working forward? Was there a new lesson? Was there a reinforcement going up against Columbus of what you and the staff were doing this year with this team? What sticks with you from the Columbus match?
Gritty, gutty, refuse to lose performance. I was talking with the guys yesterday. We had 1 shot on goal. We scored it. I think they had 2. The entire game was played between the 18-yard boxes. Just extremely competitive. So, like I said, that's really our characteristic. I mean, you mentioned Caden Powell. Their center back was very talented. He was not able to get much going forward. They had 3 very good strikers. They weren't able to get much going forward. So we just were gritty and gutty. That's the characteristic of the team.
When you have Pierce County now coming up in this one, Wednesday, 7:30-ish, and I use the ish because you never know what happens with the 5 o'clocker. What has study hall been like getting ready for Pierce, as they have knocked off Pike? They knocked off Hart, who had a great year. What has study hall been like getting ready for Pierce County?
Pierce County is an extremely familiar foe. Friend, might even, I mean, obviously we're not going to be friends out there on Wednesday night, but Their coach has become a friend of mine. We've played them. They're in our region too. We've been in the same region for 4 years. I think we've played each other 8 times in the last 4 years. They're always close. They always come down to one or two plays. So study hall has been focused on continuing to be what we are, which is a compact technical group that fights for 80 minutes or 100 if that's what it takes. I cannot emphasize enough to the guys. It's a new game. We've played them twice already this year. We came out 1-0 the first time. It was very, very close. We beat them 2-0 the second time, but the second game was 2-0 does not describe how close that game was. There was a handball in the box where the ball basically deflected off one of my players' feet and it hit their center back in the hand. Inadvertent. We got a penalty. So we score that. And then the second goal was scored. Caden Powell scored a diving header with about 6 minutes left. So the game could have easily gone either way, both of the games. It's just about focusing on finishing the task. You know, we've gotten this far by winning 3 incredibly difficult games. There are 1,000 things that could have happened where we're not playing tomorrow, and the one where we are, and when that one happened, we've just got to continue to fight and focus and gut it out because that's our game.
What has the support been like on campus during this run to the last match of the year? What's it been like on campus for you?
It's been fantastic. It's been great. You know, this is a art school. It's pretty small school. We have non-traditional athletics. We don't have football. We don't have basketball. We don't have baseball. But we have great cross country. We have great volleyball. We have great tennis. The athletics we do have, you know, the school gets behind it. The support from the greater Savannah community has been amazing as well. I can't tell you how many coaches have reached out to me. Proud of y'all. You know, Justin Brantley, who's the coach at Islands, they're playing tonight. We text each other all the time. Let's go. Come on, boy. Let's get it. There's never been a public school that's won a state championship from Savannah. We got 2 good chances. So the support has really, really been amazing.
Have you guys texted today at all as he's been making his run up I-16 and getting stuck in the traffic?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we shared itinerary, you know, yeah, we know each other extremely well. So yeah, it's been great. We're all pulling for Islands. I think the Appling County game, which was second round game, they didn't have a game the same night. The entire Islands game team was at our game, supporting. You know, all the guys play club ball together. They're all buddies. So it's been great support.
All right. So what is the itinerary for heading north on Wednesday? When do you get to leave town?
So we'll leave town tomorrow morning about 9. Okay. Take a pit stop in Dublin, go to the bathroom, and then eat lunch around McDonough. If you're familiar with traveling from this area to Atlanta,
yes,
McDonough is a parking lot, so we'll just go ahead and park there and get some lunch. And then we'll head on up. Plan is to get to St. Pius somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock, get a light workout in, a little stretch, a little rondos, then try and relax and get ready for the game. You know, fortunately, we had to do this last Friday. We'd go to Columbus. It was 4+ hours away. So I kind of worked out a little bit of a plan there. It was to get there early enough to get a workout in, to kind of, you know, shake that 4-hour bus ride off. So that's my plan because it worked.
Yep, and we are looking forward to it. So Nick Alifi, Justin Hanover will be on the call on the NFHS Network, and I can't thank you enough for all of your assistance and all this and hanging out here before practice. I think I've got you just enough time to get out of the car, take the earbuds out, smash them in a corner someplace, and get to practice. And I can't thank you enough for doing this, and good luck and just safe travels coming north, and we'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Ben Parker for Savannah Arts Academy. They're getting ready for their matchup later today. Once again, 5 o'clockers. 5A girls, Chamblee and Greenbrier at Duluth. Jason and Maddie on the call for that one, NFHS Network. AA girls, 5 o'clock, Pike County, Coahulla Creek, number 1 versus number 3. That is Nick and Justin Hanover, NFHS Network. 7:30-ish, Johns Creek, River Ridge. There isn't a whole lot else you need to say. 7:30-ish, Maddie and Jason, NFHS Network. 7:30-ish, AA Boys, Savannah Arts in Pierce County. Nick and Justin Hanover, NFHS Network. And that gets us through today, and that gets us into tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Curtis Ingsberg from Marist is going to join 9:15 on the morning show. Then we'll go over Major League Soccer and what happens tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Nino and Nico, the Power Hour, 10 and 10:30. Red Clay, we're going to try on. We're going to GMC, and we're going to hear from Matt Cheeves. So that's a big rundown for everything. For all of you who have been hanging out with us, thanks for dropping by, as you always do, and being a part of everything here on the Red Clay Soccer Report presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Enjoy the games tonight at St. Pius and Duluth. We'll catch up with you again on the morning show, where we'll talk about day number 2. Will it match day number 1? We're going to find out here in just a little bit. Thanks to the coaches. Thanks to the Jasons at Walton and at West Forsyth. Thanks to Kelly Bowler at Johns Creek. And thanks to Ben Parker at Savannah Arts Academy. From all of us here to all of you, enjoy the finals, everybody. Red Clay Wednesday is off and running. Since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9:05 Eastern, and at the game sites at 5 and 7:30 tonight.